I'm kind of struggling bringing together like those 2 points of not just here, like in general, of one thing, the simplicity and the like the absolute, and that it's all already, and on the other side, this whole world and abundance of knowledge and different things to learn and paths to go, and I feel like I can tap into into the simplicity, but since I'm not like completely in the realization, it's not satisfying me. So there's a outreach and searching for this which path to take and the knowledge, but then this also takes me away from the simplicity and the realization. So yeah, this is I think this is the main point.
I totally relate to that. Totally relate to that. Totally. Whenever I think, okay, great, like, sometimes even at the breakfast, because we're a family of 5 now, right? Me, my wife, 2 kids who are like, early teens and a year and a half. So it's, it's busy. It's like, okay, how about movie night? Yeah! And then so if they give me the thingy that, then and start choosing, right, through Netflix, never end up watching anything. And it's simply impossible to choose, because it's like, So, of course, it's then like that whole movie night, so like the kids is like, don't give the remote to dad. And he will never choose any movie there, So the kind of like a movie night in is always a bit of a challenge, because it has to be fitting for everyone, like everyone sort of happy, and so the strategies are being developed, how to avoid the amount available out there. So maybe we can, like, yeah, I will say, for example, let's watch Golden Oldie. And like, no, we're not going to watch Golden Oldie. All right. So I understand the dilemma. I totally understand. Too many channels to flick. Too many movies, too many genres. And then Netflix is very smart, because they have every possible configuration. Not just comedy, drama, thriller, whatever else, right? Family maybe, right? Something like that. But then it goes into subcategories. It goes into, like lead female black, black female lead, or because you watched, Dial M for Murder, for example, or and it's like endless, war epic versus, so like, and you can just like, the films start to rot, the same films. Wait a minute, they just shuffle them around algorithmically, and you think you are in a new category, but there's no new movies. They're just differently positioned there. Sometimes covers are different. So you have to really be attentive, so, because otherwise they trick you, and you're gonna. So this is why I personally find hard to actually choose anything to watch at all, So therefore I'm like, okay guys, I'm out of this whole movie tonight. I'm not part of that. All right? Unless you want to watch film, we decide what we're watching. We decide consciously. We're going to watch this movie, okay? I don't want to lightweight your dilemma, but it's like you are not alone. What essentially you're expressing is the day and age we live in. It's everyone's dilemma. Many people's dilemma. many people's dilemma. See? Because it's marketplace, now in this case marketplace of spirituality, is very, very diverse. There's a lot of things. So there's very little I can suggest, because it will be waste of my kind of, it has to come from you. It will not come from anywhere else.
Maybe I can expand the question, because there's another thing coming with this too.
Okay, so there's a subcategory in your question.
It's basically like pendling between, being established in peace and like seeing the simplicity, and but then also not completely being there, and always having like something thrown at you that could take you a little further, but maybe it can also distract you, and then it's like you're going in circles. And so one thing is also with realized teachers, so there's the part of the simplicity which I can completely like take on and completely accept the authority and take it all in. But then also teachers never just speak about the simplicity and the absolute. There's also the diversity, which is like more like in the dualistic side of, there's the one truth and there are many truths, and sometimes we speak about the one truth and sometimes we speak about the many truths. Is it clear what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so, and then also accepting this, like, because we are accepting the complete authority about the one truth of this teacher, then also like kind of naturally we accept the authority inside the many truths of this teacher. But then the teacher inside the many truths is like just as subject to some confusions like we are, because there is also the human side of a teacher. So this sometimes really like brings me out, because then I don't know like what to trust and what to I get confused in the many truths, and I think like, how can it be that a person that knows so much truth and is completely realized at the same time says things that might not be true, because we're moving in the terrain of the many truths, where the teacher also is subjected to his limited knowledge, kind of. Is this so? And if so, how to deal with this, kind of how to dissect?
I understand in principle the dilemma. But what do you find the most difficult in that? Like, I understand in principle, but what is it that poses you actual problem in this? Because what you outlined is as old as the world, right? In essence, forget about that, what we spoke about, diversity, multiplicity, in terms of how much out there, right? The choice is a very big choice, and you don't need to travel to a remote area of China or India to find that teacher, to be with him or her. It's different time and age we live in now. So, in other words, from that point of view, the times are different. But from the point of view of what I kind of sense you saying, and you can tell me more if this is not the case, that what you find confusing, that how so-called, you call them what, self-realized, right, enlightened teacher can speak about truth, but at the same time there is this human aspect, and they speak about some, when they speak about more polyvalent matters, right, more kind of matters where pertinent to the world of duality, right, then it becoming confusing. So what is confusing? The personality of the teacher, or you find that there is a incoherence somehow, lack of maybe how these two truths are being reconciled.
Yeah, I think as
So
soon...
no, listen. Is this the human aspect you're speaking about? Because every human being have that aspect, right? So enlightenment or self-realization, knowledge, wisdom does not make everyone, right, who becomes the realizer of that, look and feel and act in the same way. Everyone still carries on with their own individuality, right? That individuality remains there. So that's the personal aspect of every teacher, any teacher. And then there is a universal aspect. So I'm not trying to organize your question, but I just want to understand clearly what is your dilemma. Is it the disparity between the universal message and how it is also then sits with the personal quality, right? Individual, that message is being delivered by so and so, or is it because the teacher who carries this universal message on an occasion says things that you somehow feel completely confused? How can, like, for example, an enlightened teacher suddenly say, well, Trump is better than current administration? You see what I mean? If you make that maybe distinction, then it will be easier to speak about this. Because I hope you see these are two different things, not the same.
Yeah. I'm actually not sure if I already see the difference of what you just said, but I think like as soon as there is a path, we are already in the duality, and that's where it gets hard for me to really take on that path, because I can see that dual aspect and the individuality, and there's nothing that can assure me that this is the right path for me. And at the same time, there is the complete acceptance of the authority in the place where there is no path, like when you speak, or when the teacher is speaking about the simplicity or the absolute, then there is the complete connection, and I can really take it in. But as soon as there's the path comes in, the duality comes in, and then it gets difficult to really accept it.
No, that's completely something else. That has nothing to do with what you said earlier.
Okay, then I said it wrong, sorry.
Right? So it's like, because I'm like, this is, if this is a conversation, I don't want to fish it out of you, right? That's not the purpose. And I have all the patience in the world, right, in this very moment. Right? Really, really, very, very, I want to go and really with you there. So what is the dilemma? Because you now spoke 3 different perspectives, and I'm asking you, which one is the dilemma? Is the dilemma the fact that soon as you in the presence of teacher who speaks of the absolute nature of everything, and from the absolute point of view there is no path, that's obvious. If you're smart enough, you read 1 page of Ramana Maharshi. You don't need any teacher, okay? Maybe 1 line. Single line will suffice. Scholars will go further. They will say, not just single line, a couple of words put together. will suffice. There's no path. Of course there's no path. From the absolute point of view. So if that resonates there and then, conversation is ended. You don't need to be in the presence of any teachers. Another story, of course, I can give you some undercurrents as well, because that's also not entirely true. You live in the time of Neo. I'm not talking about Keanu Reeves' most celebrated role. You live in the time of Neo Advaita, Neo Tantra. So, of course, there is time, everything goes. Western culture in particular, certainly today, in our day and age, is known for complete and utter misunderstanding of time. Therefore, nobody has time. Therefore, nobody has patience. Therefore, most people have no prerequisites. Many teachers who speak the utmost truth to a large crowd of people with this kind of level of responsibility that there is no path have to understand that the next retreat should not be filled with participants. Otherwise, they're hypocrites. Why will I invite you to the next retreat if you've gone home enlightened? What, am I stupid? Listen attentively. You will begin to understand why am I answering the way I do. Every teacher has personality, right? And every teacher has individuality. If teacher has personality still, right, you need to run away from that teacher. There and then. Because it's two different things, personality and individuality. Individuality, in fact, properly understood, is all we've been speaking about here all along. That's the meaning of that term. Pure subjectivity, expressed here individually in each and every one of us. So, that whole Neo thing took the loftiest teachings of Advaita Vedanta, decontextualized it from what Advaita Vedanta represents in a full scope of at least 6 systems of Indian philosophy. And just because of mainly 4 teachers, mainly, in fact we can even narrow it down to 3 only, just because of those who took up on themselves that they carrying the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, and aforementioned Atmananda Krishna Menon. That's all. These are the teachers, all come from India, who gave the rise to this whole Neo Advaita scene in the West. You go to Ramana Maharshi yourself, to his books, study his papers, all available, and you will see that Ramana Maharshi was a very skilled teacher. Taking things out of context never took place. There is always a discourse, a Q&A, not castrated 2 sentences from here and there. Every stroke for every folk. You know that English expression? Someone in German language, could you help me please? Every different strokes for different folks.
I can understand.
Ramana Maharshi operated with that same principle known as methods, upayas. Why do you think that is? I'm inviting you also to cross-cultural examination of the state of affairs. So it will help you to understand things better. It is a very Western thing. This is little arrogance. This is playing of little arrogance, where we started this retreat. Small arrogance versus great arrogance. This is small arrogance. To assume that one can enlighten a being of today with just telling them a few of the most important axioms of the Advaita Vedanta.